press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello children, how are you? I hope that all are doing good. Today I am going to continue the same lesson which we have started in the last class, is it? So that is Ancient Education System of India. So in the last class we come to know about the how this ancient education system was present in olden days. Okay, so on the basis of what this education system was practiced in olden days. Okay, we have come to know about the salient features and then the introduction, and also there are some of the sources like how this education system was practiced in the olden days. Okay, so you can come to know about the salient features, means it's about the overall development of a child. So not only the inner but also outer part, means they are concentrating for a learning as well as physical development. Okay, learning with the sources of Vedas, Upanishads. Okay, and then the physical development, we can see the sources of Krida. Then next is Dhanur Vidya, and also yoga sadhana, and also some of the other sources we can see that. Okay, and there are some other sources where we have learned, where the people were learned during the period of ancient times, that is what also called Anviksiki. Then another is history, that is called as Itihas, then Mimamsa, then Shilpa Shastra, and then Varta. So these are the sources of learning during the period of ancient education system. Okay, so this is the thing. Now today's class we are going to move to the further story, that is further learning, that is ancient education system in India, a way of life. Okay, so here is ancient education system in India, a way of life. Okay, so this education system, it shows a way of life. Okay, I have told you in the last class that those things they were practiced through the practical based. Okay, so all the education system of ancient time, it was based on practically. Okay, not by written assessment, it is not like that. And now how these education system, it is helpful to lead a child's, that is how to give a way of life. They are giving a way how to lead a life. Okay, so let's see here. In ancient India, both formal and informal ways of education system existed. Okay, formal means like how we are come to the school in a disciplined way, like that it was also present. Informal means it is not like particular discipline, it is not like the teachers are present, it is not like the students are come to the proper time, in time. There is no arrangements of the curriculum and the textbooks and all. Okay, then there is some daily they are learning. Okay, through that ways of education system existed. Indigenous education was imparted at home. Indigenous means it's called as originating or occurring naturally in a particular place. Okay, informal means the students, means the child is learning at home, that is called as an indigenous place. Okay, indigenous education imparted at home or in temples or in pathshalas and tolls, then chatuspatis and also gurukuls. So these are the places where the child is not only learn formal education, but also they are stressing for the informal education. Okay, the day-to-day life, how to lead a life. Okay, so like that, there is no particular subjects are present, but in that we can see it's a particular subject and also the sources, but here they are learning through the life. Okay, they are learning about a life. Okay, then there were people in homes, villages and temples who guided young children in imbibing pious ways of life. Okay, in some of the villages and some of the places, the people who are living, they are the elders or who are the old people. So they are also giving a way how to lead a life. Okay, they are imbibe means they are taking okay, the children for a dutiful way of life. Okay, pious means dutiful. So pious way of life, how to lead a right way of life. So all those things it was imparted by the elders in the villages and also in temples and also in homes, at homes, who are the elders who are there. So they're just guiding to the people, they are guiding to the children, younger children, to how to lead a life. Okay, that is. Then temples were also the centers of learning and took interest in the promotion of knowledge of our ancient system. Even the temples, you know, the temples plays a very important role in ancient education system, because that gives a center of learning. Okay, so where the people goes there and they just taught by the priest and all, so they also learning to how to lead a life. Okay, then and also they were promoting, they are imparting knowledge. Then students went to viharas and universities for higher knowledge. Okay, students, vihara means it's a Buddhist monastery. Okay, so the students went for the higher education, so they just used to go there, viharas and also universities. Okay, then teaching was largely oral, and students remembered and meditated upon what was taught in the class. Actually, whatever the teaching system were based on, it is only for a oral. Okay, not writing work, it is a oral work. Okay, so what are the things are taught in the particular subject or particular way of life, all the things they have to remember by the students. Okay, meditating means they have to remember, they have to practice on it, and then they have to taught in the class. So like that. Okay, I hope that you all are understanding what kind of a education system was present in our ancient India. Okay, next is about Gurukuls, also known as ashrams. Okay, so Gurukuls were called as ashrams. It is also called as ashrams. So ashrams, which means where the residential places of learning. So where it is called as a residential, where the students can stay there. Okay, it's a residential learning. Residential places of learning. Many of these were named after the sages. Sages means who are teaching and who are having a wise person. So based on them, they have given the name of the Gurukuls, that is ashrams. Situated in forest. So those Gurukuls and these ashrams, it was situated in the forest areas. Okay, in Sarain means which is calm. Okay, Sarain means calm, where the place is calm. Then peaceful surroundings, where the surrounding area should be the peaceful. It is not situated in the cities and any crowded places. It is, they have chose the forest area which is calm and peaceful. Okay, then hundreds of students used to learn together in Gurukuls. So there hundreds of students go there and they used to learn equally. Okay, then women too had access to education during the early Vedic period. So during the early Vedic period, even the women are also going to the particular viharas to get education, Gurukuls and ashrams to get education. Among the prominent women Vedic scholars, we find reference to Maitreyi, Vishwambhara, then Apala, Gargi and Lopamudra, to name a few. So here these women, they are scholars. Okay, scholars in their particular subjects. So who are those? They are the Maitreyi. We find references to Maitreyi, then Vishwambhara, then Apala, then Gargi and Lopamudra. During that period, the gurus and their shishyas lived together, helping each other in day-to-day life. So during that period, especially where in ashrams, where it is called as a residential learning, so there the teacher and also students, they are live together, and there the teachers are teaching to the students day-to-day life, okay, how to lead a life they are teaching, and even the students are helping to their teachers, okay, in their day-to-day life. The main objective was to have a complete learning. So what is the main objective of this residential learning? Okay, that is to learn completely, okay, and leading a disciplined life and realizing one's inner potential. Okay, leading a disciplined life and realizing one's inner potential. So how much we have the strength inside, so that one we should have to identify and we have to become a stronger. So that is the main objective of this kind of learning. Okay, so then next is, students lived away from their homes for years together till they achieved their goals. Here also students are living far away from their homes and they are living with their teachers in Gurukuls so many years there, and at last they are sending to the homes when they were achieved their goals. Okay, so this is, the Gurukul was also the place where the relationship of the Guru and the Shishya strengthened with the time. Okay, so this is the place where this Gurukul is a place where the students and teachers relationship is giving, it was a strengthened, okay, it was a strengthened, it was a very strong bond between the teachers and the students. Then while pursuing their education in different disciplines like history, art of debate, law, medicine, etc. Okay, while pursuing their education, so while they were gaining their education, so they were disciplined like history. They come to know about the history, then art of debate. They come to know about, they learn the skills of debate, and also law which is based on the law or order. Okay, that is called justice, and medicines. Okay, and the medicine, how to treat the patients, about this. The emphasis was not only on the outer dimensions of the discipline but also on enriching inner dimensions of the personality. Okay, so their achievement, all these education system, it was not only based off outer part. Okay, it is also helpful for the inner development of the child. Okay, that is called inner dimension of a personality. If our from inside, if you are not good, then how it will be the outer part of a personality? The personality is totally different. Okay, so the inside should be the pure. From inside, we should be pure, we should be knowledgeable, we should be intellectual. Okay, then all these things, it was imparted in the education system, in the olden education system. Okay, so now you can compare how our education system we will see in our present day, is it? So you can see that actually all this kind of system is also present nowadays, but because of the generation, because of the technology, because of the things, so somewhere there are something, it is lagging, is it? But earlier days, the people, they were very innocent, they are leading life very simple. But now how we are leading? Luxurious life. Everybody, they are in race to lead a good and comfort life. But actually in the olden days, they are not like that. Whatever they get from the nature, they accept it and they lead a life and they were satisfied. But nowadays the man is not satisfied with whatever the things he had. Okay, so that's why all the problem arises. So when the man is not satisfied with what the things he had, whatever the things he had, and whatever the strength he had, if he is not accepted the reality, so there the problem arises. Okay, so there the problem arises, and whatever the values we learned through our schools and the colleges and from the home, it will be vanished. It will be completely destroyed because of the problems, okay, which was created by man only, not by the God, not by any other person. We are blaming to the system, we are blaming to the world, and we are blaming to the other. Actually, it was only created by the self. Okay, if we know the good knowledge, if we make strong, if we make our mind strong, okay, then there is no problem at all. Okay, we will be adopted those things, whatever the things are present in our life. But if we are not adopted, all the problems arises. Okay, so the main thing is we should be stronger by our inner. Okay, this is the thing. Excuse me, let's see the next part here. Many monasteries or viharas were set up for monks and nuns to meditate, debate and discuss with learn for their quest for knowledge during this period. Okay, many monasteries means viharas, where it is called as viharas. There we can see there are so many monks. Monks means they are the male member which they are staying in that monasteries, okay, to guide the students. And there were so many nuns. Nuns means they are called a female people, okay, women. So where they were member of that monastery, so they were guiding to the people who are coming for the seek, okay, seek, and they were get the people who are going there to get knowledge, okay. There they are helping to the children or students for a meditate, debate and discuss, okay. So they are guiding to the students for a debate and for a meditation and also discuss with the learn for their quest for knowledge. Quest means they are seeking for the knowledge, okay. So they are learned through the debate, through the meditation and through the discussions. Around these viharas, other educational centers of higher learning developed, which attracted students from China, Korea, Tibet, Burma, Ceylon, Java, Nepal and other distant countries. Okay, along surrounding of these viharas, there are other higher learning education centers were developed. So those are called as it has not given here. I will tell you what are the educational centers of there. So it was attracted to the people who are living in China, then Korea, then Tibet and Burma and the Ceylon, Java, Nepal. So the people who are living in these countries, they were attracted to these places which is present in our India. Okay. Then next let's see about the viharas and universities. Okay. Let's see about the viharas and universities. Viharas and universities. So what is this viharas and universities? The Jataka tales accounts are given by Yuanzhang and I King, that is Chinese scholars. Okay, so here there is called tales, that is called Jataka tales. Jataka tales. Okay, so which was given by Yuanzhang, you should pronounce that as Yuanzhang, and I King. So they were the scholars which related to China. They are the Chinese scholars. So they are called Chinese scholars. Okay, so they are called Chinese scholars, as well as other sources tells us that the king's society took active interest in promoting education. So they are guided to the people, not only the gurus and not only the people who are teaching in the educational centers, even the kings and also people, they can have a active interest on this educational system. Okay, then as a result, many famous educational centers came into existence. Okay, so this is not only limited for the students and the teachers, even the kings and also the people, whoever they like to go for the center, these educational center, they can also go there and they can also get the education and knowledge. Okay, so this is based on this. Among the most notable universities that evolved during this period was situated at Takshashila. Okay, so which is very important universities we will see in the Takshashila. Okay, so which is the famous universities. The famous universities we will see in India, that is Takshashila, then Nalanda, Vallabhi, then Vikramshila, then Odantapuri, and Jagadala. Jagadala. So these are called as famous universities we see in our India. Okay, that is Takshashila, then Nalanda, then Vallabhi, Vikramshila, then Udantapuri, then Jagadala. So these are called. Then these universities developed in connections with the viharas. So these are the famous universities. They are connected with the viharas. Okay, viharas, that is called monasteries. Okay, then those at Banaras, Navadip and Kanchi developed in connection with temples, became centers of community life in the places where they were situated. Okay, these places, these universities which is situated in Benares and Benares, then Navadip, then Kanchi. Okay, so they are having the connection to the temples also. Okay, where the people go there, they can also shift to these universities for learning. Okay, and this is also called as a center of community based learning. These institutions catered to the needs of advanced level students. Catered means provide anything required for desire. Okay, these are the institutions which give the education which the people all wanted to learn something, okay, which they are desiring, okay, and they need advanced level student. They need an advanced level student here. Such students join the centers of higher learning and develop their knowledge by mutual discussions and debates with renowned scholars. Okay, so who are the students? They are very advanced, very well advanced. So they can go to these higher education centers and they can participate through the debate or through the group discussion. Okay, mutual discussion, it's called group discussion, and from the famous, renowned means famous scholars. Okay, then not only this, there was also occasional summoning by a king to gathering in which the scholars of the country of various viharas and university would meet, debate and exchange their views. Summoning means to call people together. Okay, so it is not only this one. Occasionally the people used to call, okay, for a gathering. So it was called by the king. Okay, and where the scholars of the country come from the different areas, from the different viharas and the university, and they meet and for the debate and their exchanging views. Okay, here the king used to call to the famous and the scholars which was coming from all over the viharas. Okay, and they used to summoning the teaching, or they were in the participation of a group discussion or exchanging thoughts. Okay, so that would be organized by the kings. Okay, then in this section we will give you glimpses of two universities of the ancient period. These universities were considered among the best centers in the world. Okay, so in these two means in viharas and universities, we come to know about the two great universities of the ancient period. That is, these universities considered among the best centers of learning in the world. Okay, so these universities are one of the best centers of the learning in the world. So which are those? These have been recently declared heritage sites by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. So which are the universities are here? It is one of the great universities of the world. What are that? That is Takshashila or Taxila and Nalanda University. Okay, these are the two universities which it is not only famous in India and all over the world also. Okay, so that is, and even the World Heritage Sites, they are called as a World Heritage Sites, which was declared by the UNESCO. Okay, so what are those institution? Means universities. Here the two universities where the people of the world, they were attracted here. Okay, and this is called as the famous universities of the world. That is Takshashila, or it was called as a Takshila, and Nalanda University. Okay, and even World Heritage Site, this has discovered these two places are called as a World Heritage Site. Okay, these two places, these two universities declared that these two places are the World Heritage Site by the UNESCO. Okay, so okay, at present these two places were declared as a World Heritage Site. Okay, so here what is this UNESCO? So UNESCO, so full form of UNESCO is United Nations Educational Scientific and Cultural Organization. Okay, cultural organization, this is called UNESCO. So this one, it was declared by that, these two universities are called as a World Heritage Site, that is called Takshashila or Taxila, then Nalanda universities. Okay, so in the next class we will discuss about the two universities and also the role of the teacher in these two universities. Okay, so role of community and continuation of Indian education system. So these are the concepts we are going to learn in the next class. I hope that you all are understood about this ancient education system, how it was practiced in our olden days. Okay, you can compare here. So what kind of education system you are getting in your schools? Okay, in your school, in our school, that how it is, how the system it is working nowadays. Okay, where is the thing where we are called as advantages and disadvantages? You can compare here. Okay, so these are the areas we have discussed in this today's class. I hope that you all are understood that. If you have any doubts regarding this lesson, this chapter, about like if you have any queries about particular concept in this lesson, you may use your comment box. Okay, so we will meet you in the next class. All of you stay home, stay safe, keep learning. Thank you.